Okay, so this section is all about marketing your stream, but not just marketing it, but marketing it well. Primarily, we're going to be using stuff around social media, so running through some of the more common social medias that are used by streamers, which will be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, which you wouldn't quite expect to be a social media, but it does kind of work in that fashion, Instagram, and then we're also going to look at some methods of just kind of managing them all in one. So rather than you having to go to one place and another place and another place and another place to get your content put in place and to get it out there, there are some useful tools that allow you to manage it all in one spot, save you having to sort of mess around and track different bits and pieces down. And obviously we're going to be using all of those different methods to direct people into your stream, to funnel them into interacting with you, which again is going to build your awareness. And by the end of this section, you're going to have the ability to link up all of your stuff into a management tool, know what you're doing on those social medias in order to engage with people, and you're going to fill out an action plan of what you want to do with your social media in order to reach your goals for expanding your influence and expanding the amount of people that you're going to be interacting with a view to get them into your stream. So without any further hesitation, let's get the ball rolling with it. So first things first, let's look at Twitter. Now, Twitter is a great tool. It's one that's very commonly used by a lot of streamers in order to get their thoughts out into the world, to get people to know that their stream's gone live. So I find it very, very important in that fashion. Now, first things first, you really need to ensure there's not just a feed of, hi, I'm going live, hi, I'm going live, hi, I'm going live. Because that's not engaging, that's not interesting. People aren't going to follow you just to see that same tweet going out time and time and time and time again. It's not of interest to people. So you need to make sure to vary it up. Put some opinions out there, put some memes out there to interact with some of your fellow streamers, some of the game studios that you've got going out there. You see something interesting happen in your day, throw it up there, it's all content. Take a picture of your cat, whatever it is that you want to do with your Twitter. Turn it into not just a front for your channel, but a front for you as an individual, to really inject your personality across the platform as a whole. Now, another thing to really try to avoid is falling into the trap of using hashtags in the hopes that they're going to improve your visibility. So one of the most common ones is hashtag support small streamers. You'll see that a lot. A lot of people still continue to use that, but the way to really look into that one is, do you really want to label yourself as small? Well, I don't want to specifically go and seek out a small streamer. There's no implicit value in the fact that you're small as opposed to anything else. You want to make sure that people support good streamers, entertaining streamers, people that are playing this specific game. That's the kind of information that you want to put out there. You don't want to kind of pigeonhole yourself as a small streamer, as a certain type of streamer, because that hashtag itself has negative connotations. A lot of people will view that as a kind of negative thing for you to say about yourself. It's saying that you don't have any positives of your own to sell over Twitter. All you have is the fact that you're small, and that means nothing to anyone. So hashtagging in a kind of thematic sense like that, or just hashtag this stream team, it doesn't mean anything, because that stream team could be hugely varied. It could be entirely different from person to person to person. So when you're making your go live streams, make sure that they're about the content you're making. What unique edge do you bring to your content? Are you, I don't know, wearing a stupid hat that day? Are you going to be telling dad jokes for the entirety of the stream? Are you first time playing through Dark Souls blind and you're going to fall into every ravine that you come across? That's the important information you want to put across. Don't waste characters on trying to pigeonhole yourself into less interesting demographics, I suppose. And, make sure that you are interacting with the people whose content you love, but equally, make sure that you're not begging them to come view you. When you're going live, please don't, just tag 50 different streamers into that go live tweet, because that'll earn you a mute on Twitter. People will just mute you and no longer see your content at all, and that's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. What you want to be doing is interacting with those people, bringing a smile into their day, bringing them something interesting to talk about, adding into the debates that they're having, and they'll become interested in what you're doing. They'll become interested in the content that you're making because they want to, continue that sort of friendship that you're growing. It's very, very important to build those friendships in whatever different platforms that you choose to use. Now, it is important to your brand across, so make sure that your banner at the top of your Twitter feed, as well as your profile picture, are somewhat relevant to your branding. It makes sense to have that continuity across different platforms, because otherwise people aren't going to know necessarily that it's even you. The username kind of drops out of people's memory quite easily, but the image is something that really kind of sticks into people's minds, especially if you're using it throughout your Twitch on your BRB screen or your intro screen, in some of your panels, stuff like that. It really kind of ties everything together quite nicely. Do make sure that you are retweeting and hearting or loving all of the tweets that you're getting back and forth. I mean, don't retweet and love everything that you get come through, but the more that you do take part in that, the more visible that you become on Twitter as a platform, and the more visible that person becomes in turn. Plus, it kind of creates a level of gratitude between you and the person you're communicating with, because they understand that you appreciated that tweet that they sent to you so much that you would choose to retweet it, you would choose to heart it. It will make sense, right? And also, take advantage of the platform. Twitter is mostly a marketing tool, right? Or part, in large part, there is a lot of marketing done on it. So pretty much every games developer under the sun is on Twitter. So if you are going to, let's say you're going to stream some Final Fantasy XIV today, throw in an @Final Fantasy on there. Throw in an @Square Enix, whatever, different area you're in. They'll all have sort of their local accounts. Find them in there, @them, as you go live, to tell them that you're showing off their game at that point in time. They may well retweet you to their thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of followers on social media on some occasions. If you catch them at the right time, and they're like, hey, yeah, let's check out this guy, let's promote this guy. And it makes sense to do that. Take advantage of all the tools that you've got there. They're interested in promoting their game. You are promoting their game. It makes sense for that kind of link up to occur. And especially with indie developers as well, they're more than happy to share what the people are creating content around their game. So I'm not saying take advantage of it, because that's a very negative way of putting in it, but make sure that they know that you're making content about their baby, and they'll be pleased to know about that. I can almost guarantee you, on every occasion, unless you're sitting there bashing their game for the entirety of the stream, which odds are you probably won't be, then they're going to be very pleased. They're going to want to share that with people and let them know that they can go and check out their game on your stream. So, use Twitter in a smart way, in a way that you can really spread your influence without just spamming people left, right, and centre, and you'll notice noticeable growth day on day, week on week, and month on month. Now, Facebook is a bit of a weird one. It's not perhaps the most highly sought after social media platform for live streaming, mainly because Facebook has kind of these weird algorithms that restrict how many people see things from certain sources. So I would say it's definitely worth you putting together a fan page for yourself, which you can do quite easily on Facebook. You know, it gives people a place to come and check out your stuff that isn't just your personal profile, which you may very well want to keep private because it contains your real name, perhaps information about your life that you don't necessarily want to share with your stream. But having a fan page there gives you the ability to post some additional updates through Facebook, posting when you go live, posting general interest bits about your stream and about what you're doing. And it will give people another way to find you, another way to see those announcements as they go up, and to share them throughout a different sort of social sphere than the ones on, you know, say Twitter or Instagram or so forth. Now, one thing that I've seen that's very, very successful is posting like a highlight of the week or a clip of the week on your Facebook page, as that will be able to autoplay on your Facebook, get shared around very readily. Facebook actually likes sharing videos quite a lot. As far as the algorithms are concerned, they much prefer showing videos as opposed to still images. So that's certainly something that's worth considering there. And I would say that it's worth you ducking into a few other fan pages as well. There are a number of Twitch supportive pages across Facebook. They provide a few different spots for Twitch streamers to get together. And again, don't get suckered into the follow for follow culture. That doesn't really benefit anyone other than to bump up some numbers. They're not necessarily going to come and actually visit you in your stream. But it does give you another way of perhaps finding some new friends, some new people that you might want to play with. And it can help grow your exposure that way as well. And again, make sure to keep your brand materials consistent. So all of your logo and banner and stuff like that you've got on your Twitch channel, make sure you're bringing them across to Facebook. Make sure you're keeping those updated as well. If you do like a redesign or a revamp of your channel, make sure that you're also doing a redesign and a revamp of your social media platforms as well. It's nice for everything to remain consistent. So make sure that you're doing that with your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, your Instagram, your everything. It's very, very important to do so. But yes, Facebook isn't going to be like the winner for you, I would imagine. It's not typically that well performing, if we're being entirely honest, but it does perform to a degree. It's well worth covering over, and once we get a little bit further into this section, you will have ways of managing your Facebook alongside your Twitter and your Instagram and your whatever else at the same time. So it's not going to take entirely too much more effort for you to maintain a Facebook page, but at the same time, it does provide you with that extra bit of exposure, that extra bit of reach, that extra bit of positioning of your stream as kind of a known entity. So it's well worth entertaining and it's well worth pursuing. Now, YouTube, you might not think, hey, that's a social media platform that I should be using, but it kind of does fall into that same sort of pile of ways to reach further with your Twitch account. So, the best way that I consider using it is kind of using it as a highlight reel. So it's all of the best clips, all of the best highlights, all of the best footage from your channel is just stored up on there. It's shown off on there, and you've got kind of a repository away from Twitch of some of your best work that people can in turn discover on that platform. Now, odds are you're quite unlikely to make money on YouTube. It's very difficult to break into, and it's become more and more difficult as time has gone by, unless you're focusing on that fully with like a big production behind you, you know, a lot of production value. It's very, 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 very difficult. You need something like 2,000 hours viewed per month to even qualify to earn money at this stage. So it's not really a method to directly earn money, but as long as you're in your description for each video that you're making, you're putting all of your relevant linkage to your Twitter, your Facebook, your Twitch, your Instagram, your whatever, like all of your different social links are in there every single time. You link up your Twitch account to your YouTube, so it shows when you are live on YouTube. If you look through your settings, your channel settings, it'll be in there somewhere. It gives you an extra way of presenting your information, your footage, to a new crowd, a different crowd. You may get discovered in different ways than you are on other platforms through YouTube, and obviously the sheer number of people that utilize YouTube every single day, there's a large pool of people to work with there, so you've got the ability to reach out to it. So make sure that you're tagging all of your YouTube videos very well. There are a number of different resources online that you can find sort of good tagging techniques on there, which we don't have the time here on this course to really go in depth on. That kind of needs to be its own sort of YouTube course on how to YouTube well. So we'll leave that for another time. But there's certainly something to be said for tagging your content very well. So do keep a lookout for that. Now, it is very unlikely that you are going to gain a massive boost from YouTube. But again, it's one of those things where it's additional value that you can provide your Twitch users, because they will be able to find sort of these compiled clip compilations or whatever it is that you're doing there quite nice and easily. And I would say on the whole, at this point in time, in any case at the point of filming, that YouTube works better than Twitch for sort of pre-recorded content. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, you do have to be sort of extra careful on YouTube. So YouTube has a very, very sort of harsh and strict policy for, say, using copywritten music, copywritten footage as well. You can have your videos taken down for having certain types of footage in there that you do not own yourself. Now, you would need to consult very closely with the various different game companies that you're working with to see if you are even allowed to post that footage out. A lot of companies do allow it. Some kind of allow it under duress. Some of them try to steal the advertising revenue away from you if you were earning any at that point, but they may enforce having ads on your video. There's a lot of sort of pitfalls there for that. So, you know, do keep that in mind. Do try to avoid using copywritten footage as much as possible. Game trailers are ones to really try to avoid for the most part. They will tend to get claimed very, very heavily. The other thing to be aware of is if you are sort of breaching those kind of guidelines on a regular basis, it can result in your account being restricted and potentially removed from YouTube as well. So be very careful. They are a lot stricter than many other platforms for stuff like that. So yeah, be very, very careful with the way you go forth with that. Now, again, do try to keep your brand imagery consistent across platforms. YouTube does have some different sizing dimensions than other platforms, so make sure that you've got everything sort of possible to move into a different sizing requirement. Again, it makes sense to keep everything all up to date across all of your different platforms that you do take part in. And try, if you're going to really use this as a platform to promote yourself on, and you really want to use that as a way of reaching more and more people, you need to keep, much like Twitch, you need to keep a consistent schedule. So you're going to upload weekly, bi-weekly, every day, every 2 days, whatever it is that you're going to do. Make sure that you know how much work it would take to put into each video that you're putting up, and then create yourself a sensible schedule based around that, because it's unrealistic for most people to upload a video every single day, because that's a lot of content to pull together, then edit together, and then actually process into a video and then process the upload. Like, that's a hell of a time sink, and you probably wouldn't even have any spare time to stream, let alone create all of the video stuff to go along with it. But if you can manage to keep getting these videos out, even once a week, here are the best clips that we had this week. These are the best highlights, the most hilarious things that have happened this week. Whatever it is that you want to do. If you can keep a schedule like that, you know, every Monday I'm going to put up a new compilation of the best bits of my stream. People will start to revisit and keep coming back to them and start sharing them with people. And the more viewership that you start to get on those videos, the more it will be generally shared across YouTube through its algorithm. And it will build and it will grow and it will snowball across time. So if you can stick to it, do stick to it. I would say YouTube is mostly optional. Some people just don't use it at all. Some people use it heavily to great effect. But it is very much a large time sink, and it's whether you can accommodate the time sink that will go into that as to how far you should push it. Myself, I'll put like occasional particularly good clips and particularly good highlights up there, along with using it as like a backup archive for the podcast product that I produce. So, you know, every individual's usage of it is going to vary to some degree. So find out what fits for you with YouTube and make sure that you're sticking to that very closely. Now, Instagram, you may well be thinking, what the hell does that have to do with Twitch? And to be honest, I was in that camp for quite a long time myself. I'm not a big fan of Instagram as a platform, if we're being entirely honest. I don't feel like it does anything that other platforms can't already do, but it's proving to be very popular, and it's proving to be very, very useful for streamers to get information out there about what they're doing. Now, much like Twitter, it's very well worth making sure that you're not just posting go live posts rather, over and over and over and over again, because that's not content that people are willing to engage with. Now, you want to be spreading those in between other posts around other subjects. Hey, here's some cool gaming merch that I've got at the moment. Here is a really cool figurine that I've got of this character that I really love from this certain game. Stuff like that. You want to really sort of sprinkle a lot of that stuff through there and have the go lives as the occasional exception rather than the rule of that channel. Now, the really important part, as you may have gathered if you've ever seen Instagram, is hashtagging. Hashtagging is very important to ensure that people find your content across Instagram. Now, it's very hard to over hashtag any given post, honestly. Hashtagging is fine. Make sure that you're using all of the different variations of each term. So, you know, you could have game, gaming, gamer, games, video games, stuff like that. So all of the different variations of the same word do really make a difference, because again, that's kind of hitting into the search terminology that some people are using. It works in the same way as if you've ever done anything with it, with like SEO ranking on Google, for example. Search engine optimization, SEO stands for, if you don't know. it's ways people find a website, because when someone Googles something, they're not necessarily going to Google the word game. They might Google the term gamer instead, because they are a gamer. They're looking for other gamers rather than looking for other games, and so you need to kind of cover all of those bases at the same time. And obviously you need to make sure those tags are relevant to the image in question to some degree or another. Because if you're putting, I don't know, hashtag broccoli on there and it's a picture of you playing a game, people that are searching for hashtag broccoli are not going to be happy with finding your post. They're not going to engage with your post because it's not what they're looking for at that point in time, where that person may well still be a gamer, but they've already kind of mentally blacklisted you because you turned up when they didn't want to see you, if you know what I mean. But make sure that you're posting on a consistent schedule. You will tend to notice, if you start off playing around with the times and days that you post content on, you will typically find that certain points and periods in the day and days of the week work better for when you're posting content out there. Now, it does take a little bit of playing around because it's very regional, it's very time zone dependent, it's very content dependent as well. So, you know, just play around to start off with. Try a few different times of the day, a few different bits and pieces that you can be doing, and you will find that something will click and one of your posts will really start gaining some traction. And that is when you should really be scheduling that into one of the times when you should start posting on a regular basis. You know, 2 p.m. on Tuesday, one of my posts just went absolutely flying up the rankings. You know, got loads and loads and loads of reposting and comments and whatever else on it. So 2 p.m. on Tuesday, I should always try to have a post up then, and you should notice a trend with those 2 p.m. Tuesday posts continually doing well. But that's really down to you to play around with to try and get that right in the first place. It's very hard to kind of give you those dates and times because, as I say, content will vary, time zones will vary, location will vary. But the more that you do that, make sure that you're linking everything in on that post as well. You know, you're writing a short little blurb about what is going on with that picture and giving some context for that picture. And then at the end, you know, you want to see some more, twitch.tv/blah blah blah, here's my username. Always make sure that you're putting that across as consistent messaging across your posts as well, because, you know, those posts that really become a hit, your Twitch username is going to be out there a lot more, your Twitch link is going to be out there a lot more for people to be able to interact with it. So Instagram, as I say, you wouldn't expect it to necessarily be the world's best tool, but it's surprisingly good, and a lot of people haven't really tapped into it yet. That's the main thing. A lot of Twitch streamers have not tapped into just how useful Instagram can be as an advertising tool. As I say, myself, I don't like Instagram. I would never use it for myself. But the value that it provides as a Twitch streamer, as a marketing tool, are just head and shoulders above any other platform. So make sure that Instagram is one of the ones in your rotation. So we've covered across a bunch of different social media platforms that you can use to put your content out there and pull people into your channel. But there is a little bit of a shortcut, and that is a social media management platform. Now, these are typically used by sort of larger companies. Let's say, I don't know, I work for the Mars company, and I have a Twitter for each and every chocolate bar that Mars create. I would link them all up to a social media management platform, and then I would be able to post as Mars and post as Galaxy and post as, I forget any other chocolate bars that Mars makes, but they make loads. And I could just use that same interface to post to all of these different channels. And I can post to all of them at the same time, I can post to all of them separately, whatever I want to do with that. Now, there are a few good examples, and these will be over in the activities PDF when we get to that a little bit further into this section. But you've got stuff like Hootsuite, Buffer, TweetDeck. TweetDeck's a very good one. There's something called If This and That, or IFTT for short. I presume there's probably a better way of saying that, but that's how I like to say it. Now, there's a plethora of different options, and honestly, the best way to go through them is to look at them for yourself to see which really suit your needs best. I personally use Hootsuite because it really covers all of the bases. You can do your Facebook, your Twitter, your even stuff like LinkedIn and specific fan pages or specific sort of sub-accounts of different bits and pieces. It really covers a hell of a lot of bases. You can even post direct to YouTube through it, which is something a lot of other platforms lack. But it's really, really useful to just be able to spread everything across and line everything up and schedule them for all of the platforms in one place. So you can schedule a post to go up at, say, 6 PM on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, if you care to use LinkedIn for it for some unknown reason, all at the same time on one place in one time. You're not going to have to go into each individual site and schedule it up. It's super, super handy. Now, you can put a consistent message out across all of the platforms. I generally suggest to put a slightly differentiated message across based on each platform, because each platform does operate differently. The way that you post on, say, a Facebook post where you might do quite a long bit of writing would be a different type of post to the one that you might put on Instagram, for example, where you kind of want that one paragraph, a ton of hashtags, and the image to go along with it. So it's more of a case of just bringing everything together in one place and just simplifying the process down for yourself, rather than necessarily just posting the same thing across all platforms. You can do that, especially for your go lives. Makes sense to do that for the most part. You know, it's just a message saying, hey, I'm going live and you should come watch me for this reason. But for your generalized content, it might not necessarily suit doing that. Now, some of these platforms do cost based on certain requirements. So like TweetDeck is completely free, for example. There's something like Hootsuite. You have a limit on how many accounts that you can link up at one time. And beyond that, you have to pay, it's about £7 a month, something like that, to get a few more accounts on there, and then you go up to about £15 a month or something like that. Obviously, costs vary based on region to region and currency to currency, but that's roughly the ballpark figures. So it's a consideration, obviously. It might push you away from using that service, potentially. Because obviously, you know, why would you want to spend money until you can prove that you can start making it back and it's worthwhile you spending that money in the first place, when there are free options. Like I say, TweetDeck is a very good free option to take a look at, that you could be using without spending the money out. Now, another thing that these platforms allow you to do is to take a bit of a dive into the information and to see how well those posts are being engaged with, and to see how well they're doing from platform to platform. And a lot of them will have like reporting tools that allow you to kind of pull that data out and take a look at it. Now, you could lose yourself in interpreting that data forevermore, and obviously you don't want to be spending more time delving into this data than you are actually creating content and interacting with people. But it is useful, like I was saying in the Instagram lecture a little bit before. You will find certain points in the day and days of the week that perform better for you when you're posting content out, and there will be some level of regularity with that across time. You won't find that that's always the golden rule, but you'll find that there's generally some kind of trend that happens for you with how well that your posts kick off. So, you know, make sure you're experimenting when you're posting this content up. Make sure you're looking at the engagements and looking at the shares, the retweets, the loves, hearts, likes, whatever it is on whatever platform that you're getting from them, so you can really estimate when's the best time to be striking and getting that content out there to make sure it's being seen by the most people possible. And these social media management platforms really do allow you to dive in almost as deeply as you want to, which is super, super useful. But that would be the one thing that I really would say is a good takeaway from this, is it's the ability to just shrink it down into one place. You can do everything from one spot. You can look at all of your information, all of your statistics, all in one spot. You can schedule all of your posts in one spot. It honestly takes so much time out. It sounds silly to say, but the amount of time you save from not having to go to this site, 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 and sort of duplicating a level of effort each time as you're going to try and make these postings, you have no idea how much time you will save until you engage with it. So take a look, especially at the free options as well, because there is absolutely no harm getting involved in using one of those free options, and see if they do suit your needs. Everyone is different with the way that they approach social media. Some people will like to do it direct through each site, but honestly, these are a huge time saver, and they've saved me countless hours of effort over the years. So now let's talk about little techniques, little ways to really leverage the social media interactions that you have to try and increase your influence a little bit, because that's the point after all, right? So one of the ones that people tend to do quite a bit are giveaways through Twitch, through Twitter, through whatever social media platform that you care to choose. There are benefits to doing them. You will typically gain more followers for it if you make one of the provisions for them joining that giveaway to be following. Some people will unfollow afterwards. Some people will stay around. But not necessarily are they ever going to come back to your channel again. Some may well do, if you may engage them and catch them whilst they're still there. But it's generally a poor quality way of recruiting those followers to the channel. But as I say, it can work. It can increase some numbers. It can create regular viewers, but the likelihood of it is quite low versus the outlay of whatever that prize is going to be. If you're going to be paying for it out of your own pocket, you're picking them up a AAA game for 50, 60 pounds or dollars or whatever it is that your currency is. The outlay is not necessarily going to be as high as the level of return that you receive. A great thing that I recommend using if you are going to do giveaways is something called Gleam.io. It allows you to create a way for users to enter your giveaway by following your Twitter and also looking at your Facebook and also looking at your Twitch and extra entries for being a sub on Twitch and whatever else. It all does it for you in one widget, and it's all super easy to set up, and it mandates all of those different things to happen for those people to enter the giveaway. So it's super useful if you are going to go down the giveaway route to do so. So that's my recommendation there. Giveaway is not always the most useful way of creating quality new users for your channel, but it can help. So take that one on balance, I would say. One of the other things to do is not just chatting with your fellow content creators, but also chatting with games PR people and games devs. A lot of people almost kind of miss them out somehow, but ultimately they're all humans. They're just the same as you or I here. They're there because they're damn good at their job as well. They're there because they love games and they're very good at talking about games. Otherwise, they'd never have gotten the job in the first place. So you can talk back and forth with those people, and if they start liking your tweets, I mean, I'm talking on Twitter because that's probably the easiest way to reach out to those folks. You can do it elsewhere, but Twitter's usually the easiest platform to do so. But if they start liking your tweets and start retweeting your tweets, you're going to be seen by a much wider audience, and those people may take an interest in you because of the banter and the joking that you've had with those people. Now I'm saying again, you don't use these people to like further yourself. Just befriend them. They're honestly some of the nicest people in the industry. Some of my best and most enjoyable interactions on all the social media platforms for that matter, because some of them have even become like Facebook friends where we've gotten on so well. I have been with people that are in sort of games PR or games developers, because they're super friendly people. They're really, really nice people. Just have conversations with them, make jokes with them, join in whatever things that they're doing at that point in time. It's well worth doing. And honestly, just talk about nonsense. Talk about absolute weird garbage. That's what I do, because people go, oh, that's weird, retweet. And then the next person sees, oh, that's weird, retweet. Just find jokey, spoofy, weird and wonderful little things. So, some of my best performing tweets have been just weird stuff that I've found on the internet. I'll actually put a couple of links to a couple of my more popular tweets into the activity sheet that's going to be coming after this, and you'll see what I mean. They're absolutely nonsensical tweets, but they were popular and they gained me followers, and those followers are already invested because I brought them this weird bit of entertainment. So they're thinking, well, my content is possibly going to be like that weird entertainment, right? And it builds more friendship and more boundary than turning around to someone and saying, hey, do you want to follow my Twitch? And that's the main point to take away with that. And, you know, make sure that you're extending your Twitch personality across into your social media. If you're a very quirky streamer, make sure you're quirky on your social media as well, because people will engage better with that same consistent individual rather than kind of the night and day effect between the two. Even if, you know, you don't feel like being quirky all the time on social media, just make sure that you still have some of those moments leaking through. You know, some of the weird observations that you might have, or some of the weird moments in games where maybe you're playing games off stream, but, you know, you can just capture a little clip of the gameplay or talk about the weird gameplay that occurred or whatever else. Make sure you're sharing that out there as well, because it's of interest to your audience and it links in to everything that you're doing on stream as well. And I guess my final point as well is make sure you know where the boundary is between you and your community. And it's important to put that in place quite firmly and quite early. So some streamers are completely happy. They'd all but give you their home address for all it matters. They don't care. Like that, you know, they want you to be your best friend. They want to add you on Steam, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Discord, on every service under the sun. They just want to, you know, be friends with you, basically. And that's absolutely perfectly fine. Presuming that you, the streamer, are okay having that level of interaction with various different people, and you're able to sustain that as you grow as a streamer as well, because obviously the more and more people coming in, the more and more crowded these friend lists get, and the more and more messages you start getting come in. So, you know, there's something to be to be considered there, should I say. Or you might go the other end of the spectrum and just remain somewhat aloof, you know, almost like a TV presenter, right? They don't befriend everyone that's tuning into the evening news as a newsreader. They're just there to present the content that they're there to present, and they keep kind of almost at arm's length from their community. Now, that's not as engaging, and that's not as value building, I would say, in general, to remain kind of a little distant and a little aloof like that. But it is safer for you to do that. You know, that it must be kind of apparent that you do get some bad actors involved in various different people's communities. There can be some slightly awkward or dangerous individuals that enter into your stream community, so be aware of how much information you share, especially about your personal location and perhaps your personal life outside of the stream. if you share that you live in X city and you're going to X shop today, there is a level of risk that someone may become aware of that and may turn up at that location. So there's a level of safety to retain there, honestly. But it's entirely down to you. But decide early and put in the boundaries early to ensure that you are safeguarded and you are secure in what type of streamer you are and what type of interaction you have with your audience, because it's always easy to put them in place at the start of the process. It's quite hard to change it once you've gotten a bit further down the line, because if you're going to change further down the line, odds are it's going to be more defensive and keeping more information to yourself. And a lot of people will feel a little deflated when you do so. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that if you feel like you need to. Absolutely, your safety and your health from like the level of bombardment you may get from overeager fans might be. But it's better to have had those plans put into place in the first place rather than having to change plans further down the line. So do be mindful of just even being a little bit overzealous in how restrictive you want to be to start out with until you find your kind of groove with it, would be my advice there. But those are hopefully some steps that will really help you to try and sort of utilize your social media in the best and safest way possible. So for this activity, all you need to do here, it should be quite straightforward, as you may have some of these done already, is to sign up for the social media platforms that you're going to use to promote your stream. The recommendations here really are Twitter and Instagram at the bare minimum, with the addition of Facebook and YouTube as well as additional sources to use here. And then make sure that they're all linked up, they're all linked on your Twitch profile and vice versa, and start scheduling up some posts. Start scheduling them up at different times throughout the day to try and start experimenting with what time frames work the best to get the most interaction on each of your posts. And of course as well, we mentioned a little bit earlier on as well that there are going to be some additional links on there for you to take a look at to see examples of tweets that make no sense as far as streaming is concerned, but perform well and pull in extra people.